Yeah, my great-grandfather was Robert Hitchens. He was one of the 6 quartermasters on Titanic. He was born in 1882 on the 16th of September, and he was one of the helmsmen on Titanic. He took the wheel at 10 o'clock and the iceberg hit at 11:40, and he was on duty at that time at the wheel. It wasn't till 2012 that I actually found my birth father. I didn't know who my father was, but at that point I found him, and it wasn't just the fact that I found him, but found that he was actually related to someone on Titanic, and that was a bit of a shock because obviously I'd been collecting Titanic memorabilia for years, and so it wasn't until 45 that I actually found him, and then found out he was the grandson of Robert Hitchens, which then makes me the great grandson of Robert Hitchens. So then that all changed. So whereas before I was a collector, enjoyed all things Titanic, all of a sudden I was now a relative of someone on Titanic. One thing he did have was a lap tray, which was a mahogany lap tray with a map on it, and he would take that on his journeys. So he would carry that with him all around wherever he went, whether it was to India or wherever it might be, China, different places. But he then gave that tray to his daughter, which was my grandmother. So I now possess that tray, so it's something that I have. The other thing is that there were some letters that he wrote, and I have 3 letters that he wrote, and also a picture that is quite precious in some ways. I'd had this all my life, but never really knew who my grandmother was. I just knew that she was my grandmother, but then it wasn't till I came to find my father in 2012 that he says, yeah, well, that's the photo I took, and that's Robert's daughter, that's Ivy Hitchens. So that picture itself is quite a special thing because I've had it all my life, never really knew it, but once I found my connection with Titanic, that picture then becomes very, very precious because it's something that I possess. The only other thing is something I have, which is a photo of Robert Hitchens, which was from 1928, when he was obviously at sea, probably in China, somewhere around that area. So that picture is something in my possession, which is something else which is very, very precious. It was in Aberdeen that he actually died upon a ship called the English Trader, and it was thought that he was buried at sea originally, and so there was no marker, nothing for him. But a great-granddaughter, Sally Nielsen, she actually sought out and found where he was buried in Trinity Cemetery in Aberdeen. And a couple of years ago, it was a privilege that I had to be able to be working with Aberdeen Council, and actually were able to, where his marker was, to actually put a gravestone there. So that was quite a special thing to be able to be involved in that and then go there for the unveiling of the gravestone.